as to what are we trying to do to better the economy here in the CNMI. I just heard here somebody complaining about the utility. I don't have to complain because I have the same thing also. And everybody feels that. But my major concern here is, as you stated, there were money available, and yet we're not taking advantage. Why can our local officials start working together for the benefit of our Commonwealth? And this is a testimony tonight that it doesn't look like our local officials here, or elected officials, doesn't seem to be interested. I'm very disappointed to see, and probably the issue here to hear that there could be 12 million, 24 million coming here that will stimulate our economy. But we're not doing anything because we're afraid of the matching. Economic 101 will tell you that if you bring this money, it will generate revenue. And it will pay off more than what we will match that money. So I hope our leaders will really look at a bigger picture. And I'm sorry to be preaching to the two that are here, but maybe you can bring this to your partners up there that are ignoring the problem here in the CNMI. People are hungry, and I've been robbed so many times because people do not have money here. And when we have money that we could have taken advantage and we are not, I cannot understand. I really cannot understand, especially if we're against it. I asked our congressman, is that 1 million for studies still there? And he said, he just found out that it had expired. So we cannot take advantage of that. And he doesn't need to introduce a legislation. All we need to do is our local elected officials to work together, executive branch and legislative branch, and pass a resolution and work with the executive branch to request the secretary to enable the CNMI to receive that amount so that we can start stimulating our economy. That's really what I'm kind of bothering me, that we are ignoring and neglecting our responsibility as elected officials. Thank you very much. And thank you, Congressman, for educating me and all the hard work you have done. One person as opposed to 20 and the 9 members of our legislative branch. One person have educated me so much, and the work that you have done for our island is tremendous. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words. Any other questions? Come on. Robbie, come on, Robbie. Grab the phone. Come on. You're my friend, Rob. Grab the phone. Robbie and I disagree on an issue, and we're disagreeing this time.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for coming in. I didn't catch your name, but that was fantastic. That was wonderful. Thank you. I agree with everything you said. I'm so glad that the gentleman brought his power bill, because that's really an overarching issue that I've been thinking about. I'm on the school board at SIS, and I'm sure just like your budget, power is continuing to, like a Pac-Man, just eating a bigger chunk and a bigger chunk and a bigger chunk every month. And even if Mr. Millay does a better job with CUC, it's not a long-term solution, right? because a barrel of oil is going to keep rising. It's not going to come down. It's going to get to $200. Now, I was talking to an expert the other day, and I said, and we spoke about this before, Kilili, at what point do the lights go off on Saipan? When medium businesses can no longer afford to operate, when we can no longer afford to have a town hall meeting. He said 52 cents a kilowatt hour. And you're going to lose between 1/3 and 1/4 of your small businesses. So guess what? Then all those Korean and Chinese, they leave, your revenue shrinks again, and we still haven't solved our long-term problem, because if we don't have stable, affordable power, we have nothing. Forget about the food stamps. Forget about education. Forget about dogs, even though it's important. Forget about everything. Because if we can't afford to keep the lights on and the business is going, then we haven't anything. And yet we live in the most beautiful place with this huge opportunity with solar power. So I guess it's not a question that's easily answered, but I would hope that someone is really spearheading some kind of drive. Again, we're going to probably have to have matching money, but maybe we have to reprogram some ARA funds and go, there's loads of grants available under ARA, which is the Rural Energy Assistance Program, I think, but we have to match some of that money. So we might have to rob Peter to pay Paul, in the short term, in order for this island to be viable long term. Because I sure know that I'm just about ready to shut my lights off, just like you are. Because it's not Mr. Malay's fault that the price of oil keeps going up. Yeah, they can make CUC more efficient, but that's just not a long-term solution for us here. So, I'm really glad that that was brought up tonight. Thank you. And thank you for your service, and thank all of you for coming.
Thank you. Mr. White has one.
Good evening. My name is Bud White. I've been here about 30 years. I know a little bit about the Lower Bay power plant. We purchased generators for that power plant when I was on the board of CUC in 1989. We had a number of people that made proposals, and we selected the Mitsubishi Corporation. And the reason that we selected, one of the primary reasons we selected Mitsubishi is because they would provide us with generators that would operate on heavy fuel oil. Those same generators are running day in and day out at Lower Base, and they will operate today. They would have operated yesterday, last week, last month, and last year on heavy fuel oil. Heavy fuel oil is about 1/3 of the cost of sweet diesel. Now, why someone in the legislature or someone in the executive branch hasn't stepped forward and said, hey, switch those generators back over to heavy fuel oil? Now, is there a negative aspect of that? Yes, there is. It requires more attention to maintenance. Heavy fuel oil takes a toll on the generators, it takes a toll on the radiators and other support ancillary equipment, so you have to do something called maintenance. That's a maintenance right along with planning. It's kind of a foreign word here, but it can be done, and we can run those power plants. We can run each one of those 6 megawatt generators a lot more cheaper, or a lot more efficiently than we are today. The next question I'm interested in, because I'm a businessman here, and I paid over $18,000 in CUC bills last year. I can't stay in business and do that year in and year out. So I'm looking at putting in solar panels and things of that nature. It doesn't appear to me that there's anyone I can go to on this island and tell me if there's any help from the federal government for that, and if so, how would I get help? And I'll ask you, and yes, so that's all I have to say. I think we can do a lot more at making electricity on this island cheaper than we are doing today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White. Yeah, call 323-2647, make an appointment and come to the office, and we'll see what it, and we'll probably send you as much information as, there is a, I don't really have all the information pat down, but there is actually a company here now who's trying to do, make a deal with public school systems. And they're going to put sort of like retrofit the top of schools to, with I think solar panels, and that the schools will use to get some of the electricity free, and then the leftover they're going to sell to CUC. I don't know. I just heard that today, but that's a great idea. They can do that. I met Barbara, the park ranger, Superintendent Barbara Albertini, and I said, Barbara, I don't mean to curse you. I mean, I don't want to put hoax. I don't want to put anything on your park, but I saw the solar panels there. Really, and God help us, we've been lucky we had no typhoon, but I'm waiting for a typhoon to see and see if it withstands the wind. Then maybe put some at my own home. We'll see. But yeah, solar panels are beginning to, and they'll get cheaper over time. But Mr. White, please, there's a gentleman, what's your name, sir? Kyle. Yeah, he'll get you some information that you need. Kyle, please. We'll send you some information. No more questions.
All right, next question.
God, I love this group. I really love this group.
Congressman, there was a request made. One of our participants is a bit shy, but would like to ask a question about the possibility. Are you familiar with the Jones Act? The shipping requirement?
Yeah.
If that's a possibility for local and federal officials to look into waiving that for our area.
That side person is going to have to meet with me directly so I can get, we have looked into this, but I don't have the specifics right now. I really don't. We have to get back to that person. Who had that question? Who's the shy person? We'll look into, but please have him contact us. No?
Yeah, just a little bit background. The Jones Act, it's everything coming to Saipan has to enter a U.S. port before coming to.
No.
To Saipan.
Yeah, we get non-U.S. shipment directly from Hong Kong. It has to be a U.S. carrier, U.S. built ship to go to Guam. It doesn't have to do it for the Northern Marianas. We're actually away from it right now. It applies to Guam, it doesn't apply to us. That's my understanding, but we can get more information. And that involves shipping. Yes, somebody. Good evening.
Good evening. I happen to know about Jones Act, the Admiralty Law. Jones Act, the CNMI is exempt from the Jones Act. On any emergency issue, even on a regular shipment from the United States, the foreign vessels can bring them into Saipan easily without having to go to Guam. We can talk to Saipan Shipping and maybe they can look into that whole issue. So much for that. But if I may continue, you will recall that I asked a question during the Rotary meeting today, wherein the delegate from Washington answered the question eloquently. And I want to thank you very much. But before I do that, again, I'm just like Agnes, I'm deeply disappointed that our representatives, the only two people who are really loyal to the public, are here from the legislature. And I want to thank you very much. I want to thank the mayor for being loyal to the public. And as far as I'm concerned, you can have my vote again. Okay. About the concern that I had during the Rotary that I asked the delegate was the fact that the administration here seems to be very concerned about the 1466. I read quite briefly what 1466 presents, and I don't know whether, I'm sorry I came late, so I did not know whether you already explained that. But there seemed to be a concern in the administration that 1466 has an adverse, devastating effect on the Northern Mariana Islands. I beg to differ. The people that are affected by this are already here. So what are they talking about? Okay? So to that extent, I really think that we should give the full support to Kilili's 1466 so that at least those who are here can continue to stay here because we need them. We need them. Can you imagine tomorrow if all of these people who have been working to enhance the economy of the cinema, all of a sudden they disappear? What's going to happen to Jotan? What's going to happen to the businesses? They ain't going to be here. Might as well close half of it. The hotels might have to close half of the total number of rooms. So we have to think. We cannot go with the administration's idea that, you know, we should not support 1466 because it has an adverse effect on the economy and the people of the CNMI. I don't think so because they've been here for the last 25 years. So let's not be fooled, okay? The other thing is that, you know, Kilili, let me just explain to you why the relations. I'm a Republican by heart, but I support Kilili. The first election, I had to support my party, and I did, and he lost. But the second time, Kilili came to me and asked me, he says, Uncle Dave, are you going to support me? I said, of course I will support you, but not this time. Next time, which I did. You know why? His grandfather is my godfather. What are you going to do? Okay? Not only that, but I like the old boy. Yeah, I like the name Sablan to appear in U.S. Congress. I like that. Okay? So I have little selfishness in me. Okay? But he does a good work, so what the hell? You know, let's support him. Okay? Now, the other thing that really is disturbing to me is that the local administration seem to publicly show their adversity to our U.S. congressman. This is wrong. Let's do it internally while we are on sideline. Okay? Let us talk about our differences in the CNMI, but not when you go out of the CNMI and show how stupid you are. So let's not do that anymore. When he goes to the United States, he represents everybody. Besides, he had the majority vote of the people of the CNMI. And yet, they go out very freely and talk about, no, we're not going to support you because whatever it is. My golly, my friends, let's face it. We are all human beings. We're all created by one person, and that's the Creator. Okay? So we're all created the same. Do you blame the Filipinos and the Bangladeshis and so forth for saying, we want to have a better living, just like you folks? Is this wrong? Of course not. And I support that because the same Creator that created me created that German over there I always see on the television. Yeah, okay? So I mean, let's be fair to all concerned. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Jack is German, Paul?
Yeah.
The Jack?
I have a question.
Look. Oh, yeah, hey. You know this is going to happen, Congressman. Please. My name is Justin Pangilinan. I was the Congressman's intern for fall 2010 year at George Mason University, Fairfax, Virginia. I'm actually here on vacation. It's been 10 years since I've left the islands. It's good to be home. I'd like to thank you because in the month I've been here, I've been reading article upon article on 1466. I'd like to thank you for clarifying that. Also like to say, like the gentleman, I'm an avid Republican, and as much
You should have told me that before you interned.
I have a story to tell. My friends ask me why I interned for you. I tell you, I showed them the picture on the plaque outside your wall. This is the office for the people, and I tell them, I walk down the halls of Canon, I don't see anyone else do that. I really like you. Your best interest at heart to people of Marianas, and I'm a Republican, but I don't.
And I want to announce to the whole world, he was an intern and he didn't get paid. He wasn't paid, he was an intern.
You paid me more than I paid for my school. I learned more in the office than I ever learned.
He came too. He earned college credit for his internship. But he came, he was there.
I just want to say thank you for holding this town hall. I also thank you for having me as your intern. I thank you for giving me information
Thank you.
on an issue that for the past month I've been confused with. Thank you, Doctor.
Look, I'm going to need your help. I am really going to need everybody's help. I need for you to, if you have a question on an issue, please, look, I'm very accessible. I'm the only member of Congress who's got 2 personal pages, an office page, and of course a campaign page on Facebook. We respond, or we try to respond to every email we get. We try to make a turnaround off as fast as possible. You must understand the time difference now. So if you have a concern, if you have a disagreement, and of course once in a while we take compliments too, please let us know. I have town hall meetings. I come here and I have town hall meetings after town hall meetings after town hall meetings here in Rota and Tinian. We had resident reps for over 30 years. I'm the first one who opened an office in Rota and Tinian. Because some people here may have a difficult time calling long distance. We even have a toll-free number. You can call us toll-free so you don't have to pay the charges. Yeah, okay, I'll get to JP in a minute. But I cannot do my work if you don't tell me what you're thinking. I need for you to tell me. But it's come to a point where I need for you also to talk to other people in our community and start a conversation. We can disagree, but it's an issue that's important to all of us in our community, and we can disagree. Tammy and I don't always agree on anything. Tammy has told me before, hey, you're wrong. Right, Tammy? In a meeting, public meeting, hey, you're wrong. And that's all right. Because then I want to ask myself, what was that? We need to start a conversation. We need to talk. No fear, just talk. I mean, you know, that's not right, but let's talk. Oh, Ruth, she writes me here on. Ruth is another one, but you know, if people don't do that, I mean, I don't know. JP, thank you for your service to our country, JP. JP is also with 100 Eco Company, just like Congressman Yumo, I served in that. Joe, okay, no? Hey, we have 4 100 for 4 Go for Broke soldiers here. Is there anyone else? Anyone else Go for Broke? And Mr. Fernandez? Yeah.
Yes, and Kelly Camacho is a police officer here right now. I don't know if he's Congressman, I always hear the saying, one man can make a difference or one woman can make a difference. And when you got elected, I can sincerely say that you have made a difference. Before, when I used to go to the stores, I see the kids outside, chewing betel nut, smoking cigarettes, messing around, horseplay. But nowadays, I see them with laptops. The laptops that you and your office have provided, the Congress. And, it's a good feeling to know that they are not going to be influenced in a bad way, where they want to smoke or chew or whatever, drink beer, do some bad stuff. They're now more interested in learning about their laptop that you provided. And also when you go to the store and you see people line up to pay, they're taking out their, pennies. I mean, literally taking out pennies, because I know I've done it myself. I'm not going to say I'm rich, but it helps me appreciate more when you see the lady and the kids lining up for milk and food and paying for food stamps. Because without that, God knows where they will be. I'm serious. I mean, if you go to any store and you go there without any money, how are you going to pay for it? And I just want to say thank you, Congressman, for your service and your sincere, your sincere concern for the citizens of the CNMI. Thank you, and I'm so glad I'm here today. Thank you for your time.
On these food stamps, right? We had a hearing at the committee. We had a hearing in Congress, right? And we had this lady who is brand new to the job, actually, Miss Rowe, a lady who was in the city and in the state, and I gave her everything that I had. Poor lady. And she offered on the record, twice, on the record, her full cooperation. And for some reason, I haven't heard from her yet. But of course, because we have friends all over the place, I know of one staff. And I said, I'm wondering when am I going to meet Miss Rowe? And she said, when she has something to give you. Here's a federal official who cannot come and meet with me until she can give me the answer that I asked her, because I touched her heart with a problem or an issue that I spoke from my own heart. It doesn't always happen in DC because everybody's busy. Everybody has their own agenda. And I wasn't really comfortable speaking about this because no, it's not a nice thing to say my people are going hungry. The committee room was hushed. And when I noticed that, and I said, I'm embarrassed. I shouldn't have been. But I spoke from the heart. Just like today, and I apologize, Uncle Dave, I think I may have raised my voice at the Rotary Club meeting. I truly apologize. I don't mean to you and Agnes and the challenge was there. But I was speaking from the heart. Because many times during these very difficult times in our era, we need to speak from the heart. I have staff here, they will tell you that the only time that I get on their case, and I get on their case, is when I don't think they're doing enough for you. Not for me. For you. When I don't think they're doing enough for you. Whether it's money, or whether it's an education issue, or a healthcare issue, whether it's submerged land, whether it's any issue, and they'll tell you that the only time I get on their case, and I get on their case, whether it's just because I don't think they're bringing enough books to the cinema, despite that we get 80% of all surplus books sent from Library of Congress
comes here, it's because when I think that they don't do enough for you. Sir Puhala.
Thank you very much. Hear me?
Okay. First of all, sir, I am very appreciative of what you've done so far, and I think you're doing a great job. I don't know if this is the proper forum, but I do have this rather major concern for our legislature, the lawmakers. I walk around Europan quite often, and you look at the infrastructure down there. We've got broken down streets. We've got businesses that are closed. We have garbage all over the place. We have overgrown vegetation that is rat infested. We have businesses that are closing. We have buildings that are abandoned. The place down there is in really bad shape. Now we are talking about a tourist attraction where, in fact, that's where the tourists hang out. Okay? In addition to that, with the rat infested and the government buildings down there that are abandoned, in addition to that, we've got a street, a major thoroughfare there, where an individual in recent months, last November or October, was hit by a car because they have the decorative street lights that a lot of the copper wire has been stolen. Probably none of it works. The street is very dark. So with all that down there and the problems that we were having in that area, the best we can get out of the lawmakers is an underwear law. A law that says you may not hang your underwear from the roof or on the porch. And my concern here is that the best you can do? Is that all you can do? Work on an underwear law when there's so much more down there that needs to be done. We're looking at something that's really not significant in terms of legislation. Don't waste our time. Do not waste our time with little stuff, because we need so much more. Okay? And I've always had that concern. It's like, gosh.
Yeah. Mr. Paul, can I ask
Absolutely.
I think he wants to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Paul, for your comments, sir. Those are just one of the issues that our constituents, businesses that are conducting business on the